On your left is Thomas Jefferson A of Virginia, and on your right, Dublin Scioto of Ohio, whose name I may be saying correctly now. I'm doing my best. Let's start the game with a big hand for both these teams Having led several games for both these teams, I can tell you they are definitely worthy to be here. I've been very impressed so far, and I know I'm going to continue adding that. I guess I should introduce myself. My name is Mike Cerise. I'm a member of PACE. I'm the coach at Centennial High School of Champaign, Illinois, and I'm your moderator for these finals games or game. And our scorekeeper.
My name is Alex Danish. I'm the Director of Communications for PACE.
Thank you. That seems an opportune time to mention that if you have any electronic devices which may disrupt our games, such as phones, tablet computers, laptop computers, wristwatches, pagers, cuckoo clocks, any such device that may make noise, I'm going to ask you at this time to turn it to a mode where it will not make noise no matter what. Completely silent, off, one of those two. We appreciate that. Photos are fine to take, just no noise, please. The situation is the following. Thomas Jefferson A, by dint of their better record to this point, holds a one-game advantage in a best-of-3 final series. That means I'll lead one game, and if Dublin Scioto wins, they will play a second game. If TJ wins, they win outright. So Dublin Scioto must win 2 games, TJ win only 1 out of the next 2. Let's have the players test the buzzer and introduce themselves. Starting on my far left, and gentlemen, would you please try to say your name into the microphone as well as you can. Kevin Wall. Welcome. Grant. That's Grant, thank you.
Rohan.
Rohan, thank you. And finally?
Brad.
And there's TJ A of Virginia. On your right.
Edward.
Edward, welcome.
Clark.
Clark, welcome.
Gabe.
Welcome. And?
Vishwan.
Welcome, gentlemen. I've already asked you this, but do you have any questions before we begin this first round of the Advantage Finals? No? All right. Good luck to both of you. I'm going to remind everybody one more time, if you haven't already done so, you can subscribe to the PACE YouTube channel to watch this game and other games later. This is toss-up 1. This man is the alphabetically earlier namesake of a theorem that was proven by constructing a splitting field having no solvable Galois group. Ava, yes. Abel is correct. That's 20 points. Your bonus, controlled by TJA. The massive scale of pop artist James Rosenquist's F-111 may have been inspired by his previous career painting these things. Identify these objects, one of which proclaims world's highest standard of living and is visible behind a line of Ohio River flood victims in a 1937 photograph. Answer, please. No, rebound.
Billboard.
It's a billboard, that's correct. Part 2. The aforementioned photograph was taken by this woman who captured an image of Gandhi at his spinning wheel just hours before his death. Yes, Margaret Ford White, finally. Felix Gonzalez Torres, who placed billboards depicting a double bed at 24 locations around Manhattan, died from complications related to this disease in the year 1993. The production of an enormous quilt commemorating victims of this disease is directed by the Names Project. AIDS is correct. That's 20 and 10 on the rebound. This is toss-up 2. Most conductors of this symphony ignore the very fast indication of 116 whole notes per minute for the trio within its scherzo, which begins dotted quarter note high D, 8th note low D, quarter note low D. Yeah, that is not correct. I'm sorry. No penalty. I'll continue. For strings, and again for strings, but on A, then again for timpani. The 1951 reopening of the Bayreuth Festival began with this symphony, followed by Parsifal. When this piece premiered along with most of the Missa Solemnis in Vienna in 1824, Caroline Unger pointed its composer toward the cheering audience. Leonard Bernstein conducted this piece after the Berlin Wall fell in 1989, substituting Freiheit, the German word for freedom, in for Freude. Chorale is the nickname of, for 10 points, what final Beethoven symphony? Yes,
Beethoven's Ninth.
Beethoven's Ninth Symphony is correct for 10. Bonus. Many members of this class derived from Urado families. The 1808 Scharnhorst-Gneisenau reforms ended their monopoly on officer posts. For 10 points each, identified as Prussian class of landowners, whose name is from the German for country squire.
Junkers.
Yes, Junkers is correct. This Iron Chancellor advanced Junker interests in Germany. He gave his Blood and Iron speech.
Bismarck.
Otto von Bismarck is correct. The Junkers formed the Bund der Landwirte to oppose this politician's commercial treaties, which lowered grain tariffs. This chancellor also angered expansionists by signing a treaty that ceded Zanzibar to Great Britain. Answer, please. There's no answer. Rebound. It's Leo von Cabridi. 20 points on that bonus. Toss of 3. W.J. Brennan Whitmore wrote an account of his time at the Imperial Hotel during this event. The Aude, a German ship, was intercepted. Yes.
Easter Rising.
That is 20 points for the Easter Rising. Bonus. Baruta galdicus performed pioneering studies on these animals, of which a third species, Tapanuli, was discovered in 2017. Name these great apes, which are classified in genus Pongo. The other two species of these animals are the Bornean and Sumatran ones. Answer, please. That's correct, orangutans. All 3 orangutan species have this designation by the International Union for Conservation of Nature. This designation is more severe than endangered species, but less severe than extinct in the wild. Critically endangered is correct. Orangutans belong to this order of mammals characterized by such features as opposable thumbs and stereoscopic vision. This order includes the tarsiers, gibbons, and hominids. Primates is correct. That's all 30 points, Joe. Toss up 4. Dana Cloud has written about how the rhetoric of this practice has been applied to other areas of society. The so-called dodo bird verdict is the idea that all forms of this practice are equally effective. A form of this practice emphasizes the importance of congruence and unconditional positive regard. The Kierkegaardian concept of the will to meaning influenced one form of this practice, which was introduced in the book Man's Search for Meaning. Yes?
Psychotherapy.
Psychotherapy is correct. That's 10 points. Bonus. This black and white image is connected to a cat with whiskers on a gray wall, looming over 2 animals huddled in yellow and green jackets. Name this controversial visual element on the cover of a Pulitzer-winning graphic novel. It required a special scholarly exemption to be published and got the book on whose cover it appears banned in Russia. Answer, please. No, rebound.
Life magazine.
No, it's a swastika on the cover of Mouse. Mouse is a book by this author, who framed it as an interview with his father, Vladek.
Spiegelman.
Yes, our Spiegelman. Finally, other criticisms of Mouse centered on its depictions of Polish people as these non-kosher animals. Napoleon and Snowball are this kind of animal in Animal Farm. Pigs is correct, that's 20 points. Toss up 5. One astronomer of this surname devised instruments called comet sweepers, which were used to discover a periodic comet codenamed for Roger Ligolier. Another astronomer with this surname placed a thermometer in a region just past the red end of the visible spectrum in an experiment that discovered infrared radiation. Those 2 astronomers of this surname created a star catalog of over 2,500 deep sky objects, which was revised by John Dreyer to become the still used New Star Catalog. This is the surname of astronomer Caroline and of her... Yes?
Messier?
No penalty. I'll continue. And of her brother, who co-discovered the moons Titania and Oberon, and who proved that the body that those moons orbit is not a star. For 10 points, give this surname of William, an English astronomer who discovered Uranus. Yes?
Herschel?
Herschel is correct, 10 points. Bonus. Building on his 1954 book, The Doors of Perception, this then dying author had his wife inject him with LSD. For 10 points. Identify this author, who wrote about a euphoric, narcotic, and pleasantly hallucinant substance called soma in his book, Brave New World.
Huxley?
Huxley is correct. This man both kicked off interest in and helped contribute to the banning of psychedelic research. He conducted the Marsh Chapel experiment and popularized the phrase, turn on, tune in, drop out. Timothy Leary's correct. Finally, this man addressed the new science of psychedelics in his 2018 book, How to Change Your Mind. He also wrote The Omnivore's Dilemma. Say it again.
Pollock.
Spell it usefully.
P-O-L-L-A-C-K.
No, neither. So no answers. Michael Pollan, P-O-L-L-A-N, Pollan, there's no K in there. You do get 20 on that bonus, however. This is toss-up 6. This man postulated that working close to the Earth's surface and altering matter there, or telling other people to do so, as the 2 types of work. In another work, this thinker criticized Oriental despotisms for their influence on thought. In that work, this man criticized the idea that the object of morals is not to make people happy. In addition to In Praise of Idleness, this thinker wrote about how
Rasmus?
No penalty. I'll continue it. This thinker wrote about how a group retards progress because that organization relies on inventing allies in the sky. In another work, this man included a page-long proof of how 1 + 1 = 2 as part of an attempt to axiomatically prove mathematics with a collaborator. For 10 points, name this thinker who wrote the essay Why I Am Not a Christian and who collaborated with Alfred Whitehead on Principia Mathematica. Yes.
Russell.
Yes, Bertrand Russell is 10 points. Bonus. In Jean Cocteau's Infernal Machine, this piece of information is provided willingly so as to secure the death of the provider, who had spent much of the previous scene arguing with Anubis while disguised as a girl. For 10 points each. Part 1. Describe this piece of information, which in most tellings of the story centering on it is man. I cannot accept that. Read on. It's no answer. It's the answer to the Sphinx's riddle, specifically. This is part 2. The riddle is solved by this king Thebes, who inadvertently killed his father Laius and married his mother Jocasta in the first entry of a trilogy by Socrates. It is Oedipus. Finally, Oedipus tells Theseus that only the gods can never die, while all else is obliterated by time, in the second of Sophocles' Theban plays, which, as its title indicates, is set in a grove sacred to the Furies near this village. Commodus is correct. That's 20 points on that bonus. Toss up 7. One novel by this author that begins by recounting the historical lynching of the De Witt brothers chronicles Cornelius von Verley's attempts to win a competition to grow the title plant. This author of The Black, yes. Yes, it is outside Dumas. That's 20 points. Bonus. This character refuses the offer of a third wish after a scene in which an attempt to disrobe her is spoiled when her sari becomes infinite in length. Named as Princess of Panchala, who was born out of a sacrificial fire.
Draupadi?
Yes, that's right. Draupadi was simultaneously married to these 5 brothers, including Arjuna, Bhima, Yudhishthira, who fought a war against their rivals, the Kauravas.
Pandavas?
That's correct, the Pandavas. Finally, the conflict between the Pandavas and Kauravas, which is called the Kurukshetra War, is chronicled in this ancient Hindu epic, which is traditionally attributed to Vyasa.
Mahabharata?
The Mahabharata is all 30 points. Toss of 8. Francisco de Montejo was made Captain General of this region, but repeatedly failed to fully conquer it in the early 16th century. In the early 1900s, Olegario Molina effectively controlled this region's profitable Enequian transport. The British eventually cut off supplies to Chan Santa Cruz, helping to end this region's long caste war. Yes, it is the Yucatan. That's 20 points. Bonus. 28 figures in this painting were inspired by the artist looking upon a cartoon of Venus brand drawing pencils. For example, name this painting, wherein the mountain landscape of Cape Creus is overlooked by an arena for the titled individual, where the artist's wife appears in the upper left, embodied by a yellow light. Answer please. That's correct, the hallucinogenic toreador. This artist depicted his wife Gala's dislike of bullfighting in the hallucinogenic toreador. This Spanish surrealist painted melting clocks in The Persistence of Memory. Dalí is correct. In a Dalí painting intended to depict the brutality of the Spanish Civil War, these items are scattered over the legs of a trapezoidal-shaped monster propped up on a tree stump and a brown wooden box. Boiled beans is all 30 points. This is toss-up 9. This poem mocks the premature death of John Keats, describing him as a very fiery particle, which let itself be snuffed out by an article. A section of this poem, which appeared in 1823, is the source of the phrase, "For truth is always strange." Stranger than fiction, yes. Don Juan is good, 20 points, bonus. One book on this subject was allegedly composed over a year in prison and entirely typed out by the author's student, leading to the quip that it contained not a word of Landau and not a thought of Lipschitz. For 10 points, R1. Name this subject, whose textbooks include ones based on the lectures of Richard Feynman.
Lecture.
Answer, please.
Physics.
Physics is correct. Part 2. Many example problems in physics textbooks feature characters with these two names. The use of these names first arose in cryptography, since the names are easier to follow than the mere letters A and B.
Alice and Bob.
Alice and Bob is correct. Finally, this former Reed College professor's Introduction to Electrodynamics and Introduction to Quantum Mechanics are considered quintessential undergraduate physics textbooks. His quantum mechanics textbook usually has a picture of a cat on its cover.
Griffith.
No, we don't.
Griffiths.
Griffiths is correct. Sorry about that. 20-10 on the rebound. This now is toss of 10, the last one of this half. Roberto Guzza produced a lemmatized and searchable version of this thinker's, oeuvre, in a pioneering work of the digital humanities. Upon being shown a nun levitating in prayer, this man is supposed to have quipped, "I didn't know nuns wore such big boots." A hymn by Saint Venetius Fortunatus inspired this man to write his Pange Lingua. His other hymns for the Lauda Sion sequence, yes,
Aquinas.
it is St. Thomas Aquinas. That's 20 points. Bonus. This issue first gained widespread attention after James Hansen, director of the Goddard Institute at NASA, spoke before Congress in 1988. For 10 points each. Part 1. Identify this issue, also the subject of frequent reporting by Bill McKibben. Countries sent delegates to Kyoto in the 1990s to discuss this issue.
Climate change.
Climate change is correct. 6 months after Hansen's testimony, this magazine, founded by Henry Luce, declared on its cover that the endangered Earth was the planet of the year.
Great time. Okay. Time.
Time magazine is correct. Finally, this is not Vienna, but the year 1987 saw the United States sign off on an agreement negotiated in this city to protect the ozone layer by reducing emissions of CFCs.
Paris.
Answer, please.
Paris.
That's not correct. You're done.
Montreal.
Montreal is correct. 20-10 on the rebound. That brings us to halftime.
At the half, I have Thomas Jefferson A, leading with a score of 270 points, and Douglas Scioto with a score of 150 points.
We'll take 1 minute per half at this time, and then we will restart. And that concludes the full minute for the app. Thomas Jefferson, ready to go on? Philip Scioto, ready to go on? Okay. Looks like our audience is ready to go on too. So we'll resume the game here, the first game of up to 2 of the finals of the 2018 PACE NSC. With toss of 11, Thomas Jefferson holds a lead of 120 points at this time. Good luck to both teams, a very well played first half. This is toss of 11. This character converses with Malakia, a man nicknamed Old Leatherface, while in a drugstore in his hometown of Mason City. This character originally appeared in the author's first play, Proud Flesh, where he was named after Edmund Spenser's Talus. This character is able to overcome Dolph Pillsbury's influence after 3 children die in a fire escape during a fire drill. The narrator of one novel frequently refers to this character as the boss, and is tasked by this character with finding information to incriminate Judge Irwin. This character, who has an affair with his assistant Sadie Burke, is assassinated by physician Adam Stanton. Yes? No, that's not correct. I'll continue. For 10 points, who is this governor from the novel All the King's Men, who was modeled on Huey Long? Yes?
No answer.
No, okay, it's Willie Stark. Top 11 is dead, but this is top 12. This process produces junction complexes known as EJCs, which can trigger nonsense-mediated decay. Groups 1 and 2 types of a certain molecule can self-catalytically perform this process without requiring enzymes. The polypyramidine tract is an important cis-acting element which regulates this process. This process requires a branch point and often follows the GUAG rule. In this process, the U2 and U6 SNRPs bind to the lariat structure. The alternative type of this process, which allows for, yes, splicing? It is splicing, 10 points, bonus. This composer's piece, cataloged as HWV76, borrows heavily from Gottlieb Muffat's Componimenti Musicali and from his own Concerto Grosso. Part 1. Identify this composer, who set a John Dryden poem to music in his Ode for St. Cecilia's Day. Handel's correct. Part 2. It's unlikely that the suite in G, typically included in this collection of Handel pieces, was in fact originally performed with the others for King George I on the River Thames, since flutes and strings would have been hard to hear. Water music is correct. Finally, the Ode for St. Cecilia's Day premiered at the King's Theatre alongside a Handel concerto in B-flat major for this instrument. A feature of the concert variety of this string instrument allows it to play works in any key. Harp is correct. That's all 30 points. Toss-up 13. Thomas Blanchard created a copying lathe which automated the manufacture of a complicated component of these things. Simeon North developed one of the first milling machines to make them. A government contract for these things was secured when Christopher Spencer demonstrated one to President Lincoln on the lawn of the White House. In 1847, Samuel Walker of Texas ordered 1,000 of these things from a Hartford factory. A British factory at Enfield made these, yes, rifles is acceptable, guns in general is the answer, that's 10 points, bonus. A book by this writer opens with the essay on parables, which asserts if you only follow the parables, you rid yourself of all your daily cares. Part 1. Name this author, whose parables and paradoxes includes a story that also appears in one of his novels, in which a man is repeatedly told by a doorkeeper that he is not allowed to enter an open door that leads to the law. Yes, that's right, Franz Kafka. A priest relates the parable before the law to Joseph K. near the conclusion of this Kafka novel. The trial is correct, finally. Another fragment in Kafka's Parables and Paradoxes asserts that this literary character made the correct decision in leaving the most visible point of his island and was thus rescued due to a logically inevitable chain of causality. Crusoe is correct. Robinson Crusoe, all 30 points. Well done. Toss up 14 now. A ballet master from this country names a method of training based on a strictly scheduled daily sequence of exercises, which is often described as making ballet an exact science. A ballerina from this country danced the title role at the world premiere of Giselle. A ballet set in this country includes the Dance of the Girls with Lilies and the Dance of the Knights. Before spreading to France, ballet, yes.
UK?
That's not correct, sorry, I'll continue. Ballet had developed in this country's courts in the 15th and 16th centuries. The 2 highest titles awarded to female ballet dancers come from phrases meaning the first dancer and the absolute first dancer in the language of this country. For 10 points, name this home country of Enrico Cacchetti and Carlotta Risi, which is also the setting of Prokofiev's Romeo and Juliet. Yes?
Italy.
Italy is correct, yes, 10 points. Toss up, or bonus rather, sorry, 13. Now you got me. This scientist names a ripening process where large precipitates and a colloid draw material from smaller precipitates. Name this scientist who developed a process to oxidize the product of the Haber process. Ostwald is correct. The Ostwald process oxidizes ammonia to produce this strong mineral acid with formula HNO3. Aqua regia is comprised of hydrochloric acid and this acid. Nitric acid is correct. Finally, a mixture of red fuming nitric acid and nitrogen tetroxide is an example of a hypergolic one of these mixtures, since it will spontaneously react with itself without a sort of ignition. The first one of these systems, using only liquids, had gasoline as the fuel and liquid oxygen as the oxidizer. Answer, please.
Engine.
Engine. No, remember.
Rocket fuel.
I can prompt you on rocket fuel.
A thruster.
No, it's a liquid propellant system. So that's 20 on the bonus for the first two parts. 15. A system of particles with this property can experience either attractive or repulsive exchange interactions, which constrain their collective wave function to be either symmetric or antisymmetric. In a phone call, John Wheeler humorously suggested to Richard Feynman that all the electrons in the universe may have this property. Yes. Say it again. No, that's not correct. I'll continue. When a system of particles has this property, a factor of n factorial is added to the denominator of the classical partition function. A pair of fermions having this property cannot exist in the same state according to the Pauli exclusion principle. If you sort n particles with this property into two boxes, there are only n unique ways to do it. For 10 points, name this property of particles that act exactly the same. Yes?
Identical.
Yes, that's fine. 10 points. Bonus. This scientist names, no, don't read that again, sorry. Philippe von Paris and Jannik van der Graal included 16th century Antwerp in their book on these types of programs. Identify this type of program, one of which was piloted in Ontario. Italy's 5-star movement proposes one of these things at 560 euros per month.
Minimum wage.
No, incorrect. Remember.
UBI.
Say it again.
UBI, that universal basic income.
Yes, a basic income, that's fine, that's 10 points. Part 2, this startup seed accelerator is running a basic income pilot program in Oakland. This company runs the website Hacker News and has funded companies like Dropbox and Airbnb. Answer please.
Nothing.
No, not?
Y Combinator.
Y Combinator is correct. Finally, in June 2016, voters in this European country, overwhelmingly rejected a basic income measure. This neutral country has slowly been making its prominent banking industry more transparent.
Okay, Switzerland.
Switzerland is correct. That's 10 and 20 on the seal. Topic 16. Early in his reign, this emperor ordered the assassination of Lucius Quietus, governor of a territory that later revolted against him. That revolt against this emperor may have been sparked by a ban on castration and was suppressed by his general Sextus Julius Severus. Troops under this emperor are traditionally held to have finally seized Bethar on the 9th of Av, after fierce resistance from rebels under Bar Kokhba. Yes? No penalty. I'll continue. A project begun under this emperor began on the river Tyne and extended to the Solway Firth, and is sometimes named for the Picts. The third of the 5 good emperors required that his successor Antoninus Pius adopt Marcus Aurelius. For 10 points, name this Roman emperor who lends his name to a defensive wall in Britannia. Yes? Hadrian is correct. 10 points. Bonus. Stuart William Hughes Rawlins drew a map for the Vallendi expedition while serving in this unit in the year 1904. Roald Dahl was also a member. For 10 points each. Identify this colonial military force formed from separate Ugandan and East and Central African units by the British in 1902. Yes, please. No, remember.
King's African Rifles.
The King's African Rifles is correct. Part 2. This future dictator of Uganda was a member of the King's African Rifles and proclaimed himself conqueror of the British Empire. He took power from Milton Obote. Idi Amin is correct. Finally, the King's African Rifles fought in an emergency named for this no longer extant country in the late 1940s. This country was formed after the Second World War from British territories like Sarawak. Answer please. No, we don't. No, it's Malaya. Okay, timeout, TJ. That was 10 points for both teams on the bonus. That is the full 30 seconds of timeout. Could you please be seated? Thank you. And we're going to resume the game with a score check.
After 16 toss-ups with 4 to go, I have a score of Thomas Jefferson A, 410 points, Dublin Scioto, 190 points, making a 220 point game.
And we'll resume with toss-up 17 for the basketball team. Here we go. A language in this country that unusually uses the front of a signer's body to represent the past was used by the Ka'apor people. An association with the Jesuits led to a campaign against the use of Nihingatu in this country. Co-official language status in parts of this non-European country is granted to East Pomeranian and Hunsrückisch, another German dialect. The unofficial capital of Italian speakers in this country is Sarafina Correa, part of a state whose capital is Porto Alegre. Italian is taught in schools in this country's state of Espírito Santo. The usage of non-majority languages in this country was banned by Getúlio Vargas. Yes, Brazil, 10 points, bonus. Opponents of this movement, or mitnagdim, such as the Villa Gaon, opposed the worship that its members lavished on wise men called Siddhim, in this branch of Orthodox Judaism founded by the Baal Shem Tov. Male members, like other Orthodox Haredi Jews, wear dark coats with uncut sidewalks. Yes, Hasidic Jews, that's correct. The conflict between Hasidism and its opponents was overshadowed in this century by the Jewish Enlightenment, or Haskalah. Thomas Paine advocated deism during this century's broader Enlightenment. The 1700s or 18th centuries, correct. Finally, Hasidic Jews often belong to dynasties founded by leaders given this Yiddish title, meaning master. Menachem Mendel Schneerson, who the leader of the Chabad Lubavitcher sect, was widely known by this title. No, rebound.
Rebbe?
Oh, Rebbe is correct, yes. 20, 10 on the rebound. Toss of 18. A character created by this author refuses to continue playing the piano after a dismal performance of Robert Schumann's Weeping Child that only her deaf teacher enjoys in the story Two Kinds. Another of this author's characters concludes that fate is shaped half by expectation, half by inattention, and draws parallels between her dissolving marriage to Ted Jordan and an incident in her childhood when her 4-year-old brother drowned. 26 Malignant Gates, the second section of a novel by this author, opens with a story about the chess prodigy Waverly Jong, whose childhood guest, Amy Tan, that's 10 points. Bonus. A character who divides the world up into in-laws and outlaws deliberately sabotages his performance in one of these events to spite the warden. Identifies these events. An Alan Sillitoe novella depicts one featuring competitors from various morsels. Answer, please? No, remember.
Bigfoot race?
Yeah, that's right. Race. Part 2. The Loneliness of the Long-Distance Runner is a novella from the British Angry Young Men movement that developed during this decade. This decade's Beat Generation authors influenced the next decade's hippie subculture. That's right. Finally, Smith ends up in the Essex morsel after having stolen from one of these businesses. The title 26 Men of a Maxim Gorky short story make goods for one of these businesses. Answer, please. No, remember. It's a bakery. 10 points for both teams. Toss of 19. Penultimate of our tournament. This artist blamed our own ignorance and folly for shutting us out of the walls of Eden at the conclusion of his manifesto, Essay on American Scenery. A recent exhibition of this artist's Atlantic Crossings focuses on paintings by this artist in which Hebrew letters can be seen on a hill in a view from Mount Holyoke. One painting by this artist depicts a bird nest-topped classical column. That painting by him is titled Desolation, and is part of a series, yes, yes, Thomas Cole, that's 10 points, your bonus. In 1358, supporters of Etienne Marcel killed 2 advisors to the man who held this title and forced him to reaffirm the ordinance of 1357. Identify this title given to the heir apparent to the throne of France. It's equivalent to the Prince of Wales in the United Kingdom. Dauphin, yeah, that's right. Several men claim to be this king's son, the so-called Lost Dauphin, following the Bourbon Restoration. This king was executed during the French Revolution. Louis XVI is correct, finally. The Dauphin targeted by Etienne Marcel's insurrection was this future king, known as the Wise. He signed the Treaty of Bretigny to free his father, John the Good, from the English. Answer, please?
Charles.
I can promise.
7.
No, even.
Charles 3.
Charles V. 20 points on that vote. And this is toss-up 20, the last of the game and of the regulation part of our tournament. This god's name refers to bronze male figures found in taliots on Majorca. Cato's De Agricultura describes the triple sacrifice called the Suo Vaturalia that was made to this god. Ovid's Fasti includes the story of this god's conception, in which Flora presses a flower to his mother's belly. A golden statue of the goddess Utio stood in a temple erected by Augustus and dedicated to this god's avenger, or yes, Mars is 20 points. Last bonus, TJA. In the Meno, Socrates illustrates this concept by teaching geometry to a slave boy. Part 1. Name this theory, according to which learning is simply rediscovering knowledge that you were born with. The title concept of Kierkegaard's repetition is set in contrast to this Platonic theory. Yes, please? No, leave it.
Recollection.
That's correct, recollection. In the Phaedo, Socrates uses the theory of recollection in one of his 4 proofs that this immaterial part of the person is immortal. That's right. The soul, finally, along with the Meno and the Phaedo, one of Plato's middle period dialogues was this one, in which Socrates describes how Diotima taught him about the Scala Amoris, the ladder of love. Answer, please. It's the symposium. That's 20 and 10 on the rebound, and that is the end of our game.
Final score of Thomas Jefferson A was 530 points, and Douglas Scioto was 220 points.
That means that our tournament champion is Thomas Jefferson A. Well done.
preliminary rounds, as well as the top super playoff scorers from the top 4 teams in the super playoffs. This year, our NSC All-Stars, the top 4 prelim scorers were Clark Smith from Dublin, Scioto. Okay. So how the teams for the All-Star game are determined is the top 2 preliminary scorers will hold a quick draft of the other 6 players. So second scorer and captain for the other team is Jack Lewis from Battleground Academy. The third prelim scorer from Lehigh Valley Academy is Alex Schmidt. And fourth scorer from Harvard High School, Early College, Manhattan, is Max Schauter.
Is Max Jackson here?
Okay, Max is coming.
Okay.
Okay, so our top 4, our teams from the super playoffs. From your first place team, Thomas Jefferson A, is Fred Jang.
Fred Jang here.
Okay, I trust that Fred has not escaped immediately after the finals, but
Go Fred! He got walked out.
okay.
Will it be a disappointment?
No. Second, well, our second place, our top scorer from our second place is Clark Smith, who's already up here. Third place from Wyzetta is Toro Hussar. The top scorer on the fourth place team, Katie Taylor A, is William Golden. Fifth place was Canyon Crest Academy A, whose top scorer is Jeffrey Cruz. And then since Clark was both a top prelim scorer and a top scorer on a super playoff team, we go to the 5th place team and their top super playoff scorer, which is Justin French from Crystal Springs. What? He's taking it back. Okay. If you don't want to wake him up from his nap, we'll move to the 6th place team, which is, I believe, Stevenson A, playing tiebreaker, and the top super playoff scorer from Stevenson A. We will have to check the stats.
Also, is it? You already have 8. Yeah, you already have 8. Learn to count.
Everyone's been better than Bob Evans and send the same, please.
We've been more than Justin French is coming. You will.
No,
Yeah.
so moving one.
Okay, so Justin will be there on screen once he shows up.
There he is. Mike Go for the draft.
Not echo as much. We're really clicking like. Wait, was that replaced?
What? Get what? No. Should have been here.
Go in here. Stevenson? Let's go over to Stevenson here.
Stevenson's still here.
There you go.
Open to
We know the number 5 prelim score. Let's go. Let's go. Does he want to come down and play? Let's do 5 for the team, okay?
We have big budgets. I know.
So yeah. Never mind.
Sorry, after some confusion, after how many is 5 and how many is 4, and my ability count, we have Clark Smith's team with Clark Smith, Fred James, Max Shazam, and Tora Hussar, and then Jack Lewis's team with William Golden, Alex Schmidt, and Jeffrey Chu. So the teams will now pick their charities. Each team at the NSC All-Star Game plays for a particular charity that they pick. The winning team pays donate $400 to the winning team's charity and $100 to the losing team's charity.
I took one earlier.
Nobody, there's never been a touch on how is it even possible? Like when I played, I was like top scorer on my team. That was the sad. Didn't help. I mean, I saw all this. I mean, yeah, it's also like a draw. I forget, sorry.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Do you need their
They have teammates. They choose them, right?
They choose them. One team is insular backbiting. The left team is insular backbiting.
Rob, we need like a race.
The other team is YZG.
Everybody okay up there?
Rob, you're gonna have to be a little bit louder.
It's not actually there.
Everybody was setting up back here, ready?
Rob,
If somebody's back in the room, do me a favor and close the doors, please.
Rob, I need you to move like between the two tables. A little bit more. Back. All right, that's pretty good, I guess.
Your head is very large.
Left.
Good luck.
Rob, another half a foot left. Yeah, that's good.
All right, everyone, welcome to the 2018 PACE NSC All-Star Game. On my left, I have Team Insular Backbiting, playing for the Bounce Back Foundation. On my right, I have Team YZG, also playing for the Bounce Back Foundation. Could the team please buzz in and give Alex your names, starting on the left?
Alex Schmidt, I believe.
Max.
Red.
Excellent. Yes, please try to speak into the mic when possible. That's right. All right, I'll give you my opening spiel here. Congratulations to all of you on making it to the All-Star Game. You've all proven your prowess with fairly standard academic football, but now it's time for something different. The first section of this all-toss-up packet will consist entirely of goofy ideas. The rules for this round will be slightly modified. The game will be played in these teams using standard PACE NSC scoring, 20-point powers, no negs, but each team will have 2 opportunities to buzz. Just like last year. Good luck. Everyone ready? Great. Toss of 1. With the end of Prohibition, A. Smith Bowman turned the Sunset Hills farm in this modern-day location to the production of Gentleman Bourbon. A 2015 article in this town's newspaper asked whether Isaac Newton Square would be its next hot neighborhood. Most of the land in this modern-day city was bought with proceeds from the sale of Carnegie Hall. This city was founded on the principle that the wisest choice of opportunities be made available for the full use of leisure time. Both Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong have elementary schools named for them in this town.
Reston.
You're in it right now. Sticking around. Toss of 2. The Wikipedia page for these things has a not to be confused with link for a page that describes Little Writer and other devices used to pirate 3DS games. Damian Elmas's homepage assumes that you're contacting him regarding software that emulates these things. Kathy Hirsch-Pasek co-wrote a book about how Einstein never used these things.
Flashcards.
20 points! Toss of 3. This technology, which was the answer to a part of bonus 16 in the tiebreaker's 3 packet, can serve as a convenient tool for water toxicity assessment, according to a paper by Petros Kina that studied mass variations. France imported some 6 million of these tools annually in the 1830s. A 10th century Anglo-Saxon book named for this technology contained an instruction for curing an eye sty that researchers at the University of Nottingham's Ancient Biotics Project concluded had a medical basis in the MRSA bacterium. Cocaine is sometimes used to remove these things, which are frequently used to treat post-operative teeth. They are not.
To treat post-operative hematomas. The saliva in these creatures numbs the pain of their bite, so you should check whether any are biting you right now. For 10 points, name these creatures. Used for bloodletting. Yeah, they're leeches. That is 10 points. Yes, 2 buzzes on both teams. Toss board. This phrase is almost never used to refer to the series of technological developments that can be traced through Edmund Brown's 1874 auto clearing design, to the recognizably modern designs of New Orleans inventor Camille J. Rocan, to the now common molded plastic model created by Harold Eaves of the Ames Company. This phrase is much less interestingly used to refer to a ballet by Gavin Gordon and Minute de Valois, and an opera that includes the arias I Burn, I Freeze, and I Was Never Saner, which are also known as Shadow's Departure and Shadow's Aria. Those works are both based on a series that ends with scenes set into the debtor's prison in Bedlam. For 10 points, give this phrase that can refer to the development of a garden tool or to a series of William Miller.
Rake's Progress.
That's right. Toss 5. One of these creatures has a snuggling stick for comfort and is scared of these sky puppies. The book In Witchbound Africa describes Kaombe observations of one of these animals called a kongamato. The mythical New Zealand rope hen is one of these organisms theoretically belonging to the genus Rhenchlorhynchus. A group of these...
Are they like pterosaurs?
That's 20 points. More pterosaurs. Toss 6. This experiment about delayed gratification was conducted at Stanford by Walter Mischel. Its subjects were given the choice of one of...
Isn't this the marshmallow test?
You get 12 points, but you would have gotten more had you waited longer.
That's so good. Go.
After 6 toss-ups, I have insular backbiting with 42 points, and Ways Out of G with 40 points. So a 2-point game.
That classic football margin, 2 points. Alright, so surely you all remember action toss-ups from last year's All-Star game. All the parties or both. Just in case, let's recap. To successfully answer one of these questions, you must physically perform the thing being described. Do not describe what you're trying to do out loud unless I prompt you to do so. Some questions might involve a prop. You can either find something or mine it. Some questions require a partner. When you buzz, you must choose a partner or multiple partners, as the case may be, and perform the action. Without explicitly stating what you're trying to do, you can physically or verbally direct them to do things. Good luck. 2007. In a remarkably poorly written Medium article about this action, author Sharon Zellman claimed to have asked around on young internet chat blogs to determine the racist origin of this action and why it must... That's a fantastic buzz, 20 points. She T-pose, doing the T-pose. Much like
wow, that was immediate. What?
2018, partner required. In a painting titled for performing this action, its central figure hunches over below 3 prominent yellow stars. Wyndham Lewis described a depiction of this action as a sturdy Flemish burgher stooping to a roast goose. An erect penis was painted over by Matthew Cubase in another depiction of this action, whose larger performer reportedly inspired the pale man from Pan's Labyrinth. A partner missing a head and a right arm would be ideal, but not necessary for replication. Yeah, let's see. Oh! Starting without any arms.
So good.
2009, the most famous performer of this action used it to end a 2018 speech in which the phrase, a magical place where the dynamics of positive and negative seem to exist in extremes, was used to refer to Howard University. Collins and Jarrett did it after scoring his 250th career try, and Sasha Vickery did it after pulling off the stunning upset of Garbinian Muguruza. This action was inspired by a pose common in ancient Egyptian statuary. No, it is not. Once again, it's still not damage. New Kingdom Male Royalty. This action's first on-screen appearance was in a trailer while the narrator says, what kind of king are you going to be? Each team still has 1 buzz. Max got it. Alright, we've got 3 topics left. As I said, not a long time. Yeah, let's get into the score time.
With 3 topics to go, we have a score of insular backbiting with 72 points and Wayzata G with 50 points. It's anybody's game.
Still anyone's game. Topic number 10. In March 2018, the person depicted performing this action landed a commission for the BBC 3 comedy show Enterprise. One of the first instances of this meme involved a suggestion that might allow one to play FIFA after 6 p.m. in peace. User @AOTristan created an instance of this meme about not reading the Constitution, featuring an image of Donald Trump instead of the usual central figure. This action originated in a scene from Hood document.
That's the other one.
10 points. It's a 12-point game.
Really is.
It's not here yet.
Not the computational math tournament. Topic 11. A professor at Carthage College in Kenosha, Wisconsin, claimed that the object at the center of this action did not belong to the person performing it. After this action was performed, Eduard Mezinescu emulated its performer in angrily interrupting a speech given by Lorenzo Sumulong. According to the memoir of the person who performed this... You got it! And here is that last topic. Multiple partners required. Reenact this scene. This scene is part of a notably textless artwork designed by John Kosh. The Red Hot Chili Peppers replicated this scene in 1988 while naked except for conveniently placed socks. Please don't replicate that part. You have to get your team to do this, remember. Feel free to pose it as you want. You can tell them what to do, but not why they're doing it.
Okay. Should we do it on the stage or
wherever you like?
Okay. Should I take off my? So I think you do what I'm doing, except all in front of me in the line, facing that way. No, you won't keep shoes on.
We'll put them on as the case may be.
Okay. Now it's.
All right, just to clarify, Max, what are you doing?
This is the cover of every.
That's right.
What's the point of that in the game?
There's a final score of Wayzata G 100 points, insular backboarding with 72 points.
All right, everyone, stick around for awards and announcements from Ryan Rosenberg.
I like this more than that was fun. Yeah, like my year, it's just actual.
Hey there, NSC. Once everybody is seated, we're going to be ready for awards. All right, friends and neighbors, you can either have a seat or quietly exit the room. We're going to get awards started here. And how this is going to work is I'm going to announce what award it is and what team has won it. If they are still here, I will invite them to come up and receive their award. Once you have received your award, please step over to PACE member Aaron Rosenberg, who will take a photo of you all with your awards. At this time, if you would like to bring a family member or a coach up with you to also take pictures, they are welcome to stand with Aaron and also take a picture. All right. So we're going to start with our small school teams. Our third place small school team is Plymouth Regional from New Hampshire, who has picked up their award and gone home, but they did a great job. small school is Island Trees of New York, who has also picked up their award and gone home. Our first place small school team is Lehigh Valley, and they're here with us today.
Maybe I'll bring one for my brother.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. All right, if you could see Aaron Rosenberg over to the right to get your picture taken, please, Alex. Oops. Ow. All right. Moving on to our junior varsity teams. And you may get a little backlog with the picture taking. If that is the case, please just wait patiently. All right, we got this, guys. All right. Our third place junior varsity team is Ed W. Clark from Nevada. All right, our second place JV team had to leave, but they are Canyon Crest B from California. And first place is going to be Miami Valley of Ohio. All right, moving on to our top 16 overall teams. Number 16 is Battleground Academy of Tennessee. All right, number 15 is Ladue A of Missouri, who has gone home. All right, number 14 is Lhasa A from Texas. Lhasa, are you in the room? All right, we will mail them a plaque. Number 13 is Thomas Jefferson B, right here in Virginia. All right, again guys, and Aaron Rosenberg will take the picture on this side. All right, number 12 is Plano West of Texas. All right, they may also need to be mailed a plaque. All right, now we've got 4 teams in a row who have left, so I'm going to ask you guys to let me go through the list of all 4, and then we can clap for them. All right, so number 11 is Detroit Catholic Central A of Michigan. Number 10 is Montgomery Blair A of Maryland. Number 9 is Richard Montgomery A, also from Maryland. And number 8 is Beaver Creek from Ohio. All right, number 7 through number 1 are all in the house, so they'll all be coming up. Number 7 is Crystal Springs Uplands from California. All right, number 6 is Adlai Stevenson A from Illinois. All right, number 5 is Canyon Crest A from California. Number 4 is Taylor from Texas. All right, our third place team, who you all saw compete in a very exciting game up here earlier, weighs that up from Minnesota. All right, our second place team is Dublin Scioto from Ohio. All right, and your 2018 PACE NSC champion is TJA from Virginia. I'll turn things back over to our tournament director, Ryan Rosenberg, for some closing announcements.
All right. Yes. All right. Thank you, everyone, for coming out to NSC. It was amazing to see everyone competing here and having tons of fun, and amazing to see all the hard work that PACE members have put in over the year coming to fruition with a great tournament. Really made me remember what I enjoy about working for PACE and remaining involved in Quiz Bowl after I finished high school, finished college. I'm still staying a part of the community. So thank you, everyone, and I hope you had a great time, and I'm excited to see you all next year. Woo! I don't think